Because in the oceans of India also there should be a war happening, most probably. Species which are not from here will start making themselves more and more visible as time goes on. Even death did not seem like it'll be a solution. The masses also, you'll start seeing a lot of demographic shifts where in reality everyone is without a friend. Like, we go to the outside world, we can't find truth. We come to the inside world, we can't find peace. So the underlying equation of this process is the dissolution of the illusion of separation. Currently, the world leaders which we have, they are not world leaders, they are actually followers of certain other leaders and are just the instruments of applying their agendas. And this is across the board. This is everywhere. It is stupid today to believe in our own politicians. It is stupid today to believe our celebrities. And it's stupid today to believe our spiritual gurus. We are stupid if we believe any of the people in any of these industries at the highest levels. It's but again, just like how all of us are there, there's a lot. If you will scout around and see the comment section of Instagram, you will see that a lot more people have started recognizing a lot of the things which have been going on. So that awakening has started speeding up. But it's not going to be a good transition, and it's not going to be a love-filled awakening. It's going to have a lot of friction.
Mm-hmm.
So that is there. But how are you? What's going on?
All good, bro. Nothing like life threatening or anything. तो सब सही है जब तक वैसा नहीं है कुछ. But as you said, जब when you put the polls and everything, I got thinking, and the time has been very weird since 2024 started. Like काफी, it has been a roller coaster ride. कभी like ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, right? But for some reason, I find myself not really engaging in those ups and downs, but like observing it from a third person perspective. कि चल क्या रहा है? I don't know if it sounds weird or what, but like,
no, it doesn't sound weird. It's one of the steps. It's completely fantastic. It's happening because you start watching yourself as life being done through you instead of you doing life.
Yes.
All right, because now I understand the roller coaster you're talking about, because if you saw in between, I'll come online and I'll do a poll and then you can see the results of the people. So January was where all of us, like the ones who are being sent all of this consciousness, all of us were physically very exhausted. February, there was a lot of anger and irritability. March, especially in the last 10, 15, 20 days, sleep would be a problem. Either you would be too high energy or your sleep would break a lot and you will get dreams. Some people are waking up continuously every night around 3, 4 a.m. And the dreams are also very funky in nature. And the next thing now which will happen is a massive amount of communication problems, simply because, again, the cosmic indicators are not that favorable. But they are very favorable for humanity overall to using their intelligence, leave behind by recognizing the systems that have continuously failed us. It's time to use, unfortunately, because we are very intellectual as a race, we are only used to using intellect to process, understand, absorb, receive everything. But the thing is that in every other way, via internal pain, via spirit talking to us, etc., via seeing the collective, what is happening, via seeing macro factors such as economy, geopolitics, everything, we still did not wake up. So now what is happening is that because we are a very calculating race, the calculating agency which we use, that energy which we use, that faculty which we use, that consciousness is now going to push that particular agency into recognizing things at a very large scale. Because April is going to be another roller coaster month. And because the thing is, a lot of things have started coming to culmination, including a lot of beings from other planets now actually showing themselves more openly here. But the problem is again that when the news will report something, they will report it as an enemy, as a threat. And when they report something, we don't even know if it's true or if it's fake. Because now also in Tamil Nadu, there were 10 back-to-back sightings near a nuclear power plant. And they have always been found near nuclear power plants along with a few other places, and there are reasons for that. But the thing is that now all of that will start making itself so visible. Like species which are not from here will start making themselves more and more visible as time goes on, where again we will be told that this is together a global enemy that we all need to unite together and fight. But the thing is, the reason why we have not destroyed our own planet till now is because they have been always intervening and stopping certain kinds of actions which would cause irreversible damage. And to understand this, one needs to go very deep in that entire field and fucking study the entire history of how the hell did our civilization come into existence, which is a totally different tangential conversation. So that.
Yeah, I understand. But also, like, as you said, I have been very disconnected from the world as well. Like, I'm not really looking at Instagram reels, कोई news नहीं मेरे को कुछ. It's not कि I'm genuinely making an effort to not to do that. It is just happening by itself कि मेरा मन ही नहीं करता. I'm just not genuinely interested in it. है ना? And I'm just too much into, कि just like ठीक है चल रहा है क्या चल रहा है observation mode and just continuously looking inside. I just find myself looking inside whenever I'm alone.
Yeah. So what is that happening when what is, if you try to examine how you yourself are behaving differently now? Basically, the first thing which has started happening, this is what happens when somebody starts waking up to things beyond just ourselves. All right. So now, because we've been having a lot of these conversations, the thing is that when it starts becoming visible to us from a third person point of view, the first thing which happens is you start becoming more, your heart opens up more towards yourself. So there is more compassion and kindness within you towards yourself, which is surprising because you have never ever behaved like that with yourself before.
Bro, that was literally my next point, bro. My next words were, when I look into myself, I now don't find anything negative. I just find love. This is I believe कि ये पिछले कुछ दिनों से I've been doing this. I've been feeling this. That's why I signed up for the call. And I held on. Honestly, मेरे दिमाग से भी निकल गया था. And then when I remembered कि I had to tell you, but I thought कि let's wait, let's confirm the facts and then talk. है ना? And I've been, as you said, जो you used to say ना कि go out to give. I don't seek anymore. I don't seek anymore for some reason, and that is very weird to me. क्योंकि ये पहले कभी नहीं हुआ since हमारी पिछली calls में you already know, right? So yeah, काफी.
I'll read you the latest poem which I wrote, which I didn't put anywhere till now. But what you said, na, you need to just read the last, like read the poem and then read the last two stanzas which are there. That is exactly what you just spoke about.
Just a minute. दिख नहीं रहा. थोड़ा, I can't see the whole.
Okay, I'll bring it closer and then we'll scroll up.
Okay. Even though. Yeah, can you scroll up? थोड़ा, हाँ. नहीं. Is this like I will ease into myself? That's the last. Damn.
Yeah.
But this, right, a love of no need, when you said that I no longer seek, a love of no need is the true way inside. I will ease myself into a chest that isn't tight. Because for all of us who have been, like, I know your journey is not as old as mine, and I'm not saying I'm grander by having an older journey, but for so many people who have been in such tremendous darkness for such a long time, and these were the people, like myself included, and there were obviously many more souls who have been going through this process even before me. You have no idea. We were brought to crumbs, fragments. All right. Like, even death did not seem like it'll be a solution, or it'll be peace, or it'll be anything. Like, it was beyond processing, beyond imagination, beyond comprehension, the state where we had reached. And now finally, we are starting to feel lighter. Otherwise, the weight was tremendous. And as you know, that I also go through my ups and downs. So I went through a very horrendous phase now. Again, not as dark as my darkest, but with glimpses. And whenever the glimpses show, I get afraid that is it going to become as bad as, when it's been the worst for me? Because I have been in situations out of which I have no idea how I have still survived, and I have no idea what the happened, because I was exploded into so many different real living versions of me, going through real living experiences in 1,000 different universes, and all were horrendously negative, and I was feeling the negativity of each of them, and the pain and the trauma and whatever the up was in that particular set of probabilities, all in one go, to the point where for a phase of 2, 3, 4 months I needed continuous babysitting. So obviously it has been a very horrific experience, and that was one of the culmination peaks. Like this, there were a couple of other peaks, but this was one of the culmination peaks. And for example, when I go down, or when the energy gets very dense for me also, because the thing is, it doesn't give a shit about you or me. This process which is happening doesn't give a shit about you or me. All it cares is about the collective spirit, and it is acting one spirit at a time. But now the speed has become faster, because even if you'll observe 2024, the speed at which it has gone, time is becoming faster, despite 2024 was supposed to be slower. Not completely, but relatively to the recent fast pace of time, 2024 was supposed to be slower. But it is still going extremely fast, to the point where all the stuff which all of us are thinking about to do as things to do, none of us are able to do it. Whatever we are planning, that I will exercise in a day, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this, it's not happening, because the intensity of this is going to such a level that on the invisible plane, the subtle realms, like our own particulate matter from which we are made up, the impact is so strong that we are tired, as well as, especially now, if you'll examine the last few days, there is a certain level of brain fog also. All right. Yeah. So it takes a toll. A lot of people are either sleeping like a baby, like mad, or people are not able to sleep. So the main tenets, even food, we are starting to either want to not have the same food which we've been having. People, we are starting to want to not, and I'm talking about the masses. I'm not talking about me. Though I'm a Sant Kabir now, I'm like alone the whole time. But basically, I'm talking about the masses also. You'll start seeing a lot of demographic shifts where people are no longer able to keep up a lot of behavior which has been their behavior as the default setting. Because if I spoke, if you remember the Brotherhood meetup which we did online, I think that was the October-November window of 2022, when I was very unwell, but I said that I have to speak this out, because this is one of the last opportunities for those who are willing to, step into this process themselves, because now people are not being given a choice. Now people are not being given a choice. Now it is circumstances which are going to change at individual people's lives. And unfortunately, because of the human species being a very pain motivated species, like negative motivators work very good for them. So that is why, you'll start seeing a lot of fucking trash come up in people's personal lives. But again, coming back to the intensity of how all of this has been, that even I was very down. And I was down, and I was getting glimpses of, the worst times of mine. And obviously there is a fear that you don't want to go back there, even though now you have a lot of familiarity with darkness, as well as you have a lot of familiarity with your own psychosis. But obviously you don't want to go there. But the thing is that I can feel that these are the final jolts coming, because the good thing which is happening is that, and you won't believe, today itself I've sat down in the morning to speak on this, and I don't know where they'll put it, because I don't think that I'm doing something for YouTube or I'm doing, but I've recorded almost an hour worth of stuff in English, because advice for 2023 and 2024 was in Hindi, and my original form of expression is English. And originally from the start, I had a global audience, etc., before the entire mix up and jumbling and, the demographic of the channel got messed up. But coming back to today itself, what I spoke about was that a lot of us who have been feeling very heavy, like weighed down because of deep level of either pain or loneliness, or in certain cases trauma, in certain cases heartbreak, in certain cases a complete non-understanding of self-meaning or self-worthiness, that anchor, that weight of heaviness has gotten, all of a sudden has started getting lighter. And that is what now you've told me yourself you're feeling. That is why I said that it is after a very long time that some light has been shown, because especially for those of us who've been in the dark for an incredibly long time, even to breathe seems like a waste of oxygen. Even though, like, for example, you are a perceiver of this ego and identity from the outside, and you believe and think I'm doing a great job and I'm helping people, etc. Fine, fantastic. What about me, right?
Yeah.
What about me? And not even what about me anymore. The thing was that, what about the things I care about? Because in this world where we are seeing, I spoke today, we are losing trust in everything. There is a wave of hopelessness coming in people now with regards to everything. So when a person like me, for example, who has been going through this process for a decent amount of time, that I'm able to guide you, for example, because in the last few calls, this process is coming to a different wavelength now for you. And luckily you have stuck through, because in a lot of ways it becomes scary, and a lot of people resign from this consciousness which is coming to them. I know of a girl who recently spoke to me in the gym, and when this started happening to her, again, either anxiety or depression, whatever the surface level symptoms which showed, and then she got scared and she was like, no, but this is how the world is, so I need to become like this and I'll operate like this, because that is the solution which a lot of people choose, because it's the easy one. But the thing is, easy or difficult, it's not going to work, because overall the world cannot work like this the way it is going on. It's not possible. It's just that for us, we are born at a time where we are in the eye of the storm. We are right in the middle. So we are the most confused, because we don't know what the did we do that we are now here. Because our parents have lived the majority of their life and they are very sorted. If you look at people from our parents' generation, you don't find even one mother who's depressed or anxious. Why? Because the timeline they were existing in was very different, and the kind of changes which have occurred in our birth time are radical to the degree of changing the way this civilization operates, both at an intra as well as at an inter level, for the rest of the fucking future. Finance is never going to be the same. Technology is never going to be the same. Food, everything, you pick up whatever you want, it's not going to be the same anymore. And the speed at which, like, even the change is happening at an accelerated growth rate. Alright. So, and people like us, we are in the middle of this because we didn't sign up for this, right? When we were born, we didn't, like, even if you will look at our own childhoods, they were chill.
Yeah.
Alright. Until the phones came, the internet came, then the social media came, etc., etc., etc. So, on the outside, reflection of the world, more development, more this, more connection, more bullshit. In reality, everyone is without a friend.
Yeah.
So, and we are caught between this dualistic battle where we go here, we can't find truth, we go here, we can't find peace. Like we go to the outside world, we can't find truth, we come to the inside world, we can't find peace. So that is why I'm very happy if this is happening with you. And luckily, with the stories of the last few coaching calls I've had, I'm very happy that a lot of people are now starting to go through changes, which if I was a client of a coach and that mother told me shit, I would not have believed him. Because it's very intangible, the kind of stuff where, like in our conversations, after many conversations, after a few years, where we've reached, now it is not about I want to solve this in my life, it is about such a intangible and subtle things such as the relation with yourself, or how to understand life, etc., where how do you know what this guy is trying to tell you, if it's making sense or not? All you can do is resonate. If it is resonating with you, so you align with it, that yeah, it makes sense, even though in my mind it might not make sense what this motherfucker is telling me to do, to trust in the darkness and blah blah blah. Okay, I get it. But if it's resonating, great. But the important step which you and some other clients have taken is of trust. All right. Now, I'll try to bring what is happening with you to the next thing which is now going to happen. All right. It's fantastic that now you're able to see that your mind and body is going through the waves, is going through whatever, but you internally have come to some level of stillness, or have come to some level of non-controlling control, where you're not acting on impulse. And it's not that you're struggling to not act. It is happening from the noticing of it, to the processing of it, to the realization, and to the next action. It's happening in an instant.
Yep.
All right. Great. What this is going to do is it is going to help you build trust in yourself. Because when we spoke about hopelessness right now, and when we spoke about suspicion, truth, etc., peace, the problem is that trust is the one fundamental natural quality which all of us have abused to another level, both as a collective as well as at an individual level. For somebody to feel lonely if they are without friends, at one level it is understandable, with us being a social species, with the need to express, the need to flow, the need to communicate. But at a level beyond that, it is not understandable and acceptable. Why? Because if in a period where you have to be isolated, or that this is life right now, then even if, there is a theme of loneliness in your life, but you should not feel bad about it. Because if you're feeling bad about it, that means that you don't trust yourself in your alone space completely. Because if you trust yourself, then whether after that you project out a negative thing or a positive thing, such as some people masturbate because of this, some people, do drugs because of this, and then some people meditate because of this, some people pray to God, whatever, it means that that particular behavior is either a coping mechanism, or it is something you're doing as avoidance of the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
If the trust is missing, the moment the trust is starting to come from where you are now, where you will go next, is when the nature of our conversations will change after that, basically.
So, on that note, right? So, what I believed through and through, now that I look back, ki pehle what was happening and now what is happening, and now whatever I'm going through right now, right? I have talked about a lot of insecurities. I've talked about a lot of this and that, and I'm now so comfortable with those things. It's not 100%, honestly. It's not 100%. कुछ कुछ है, ठीक है, होता भाई, इंसान है, मैं भगवान नहीं हूँ, है ना? तो this process is going through. This process is going through. When I was in India, I was there for about good 2-3 months, 2.5 months. Yeah, 2.5 months. So at that point of time, I wasn't smoking weed, I wasn't smoking cigarettes, nothing. I stopped all of a sudden, and when everything was gone, all the वो जो kick, nicotine or weed, THC, whatever, when that was gone, right? So that is when I was starting to think कि okay, now what is going to happen, because मैं काफी time से ये कर ही रहा हूँ, है ना? So now
No, that is not when you start to think. That is when you now don't have an option but to face it.
Yeah.
Get it? You don't have an option then.
Huh.
Because what did I talk about? I spoke about in terms of whichever problem of life we have, the way most of us have been trying to handle it is either coping or avoidance, etc., etc. And the thing is, when your environment is not allowing you to use those mechanisms, now there is no option.
Yeah. But
All right.
sorry. Yeah, go on.
Go.
Oh. So when that happened, right, that period of 2-3 months, that was such a nice period because I discovered so much about myself. I people around me say, मतलब वो बोलते हैं कि जब तो इंडिया से वापस आया, यू आर अ न्यू पर्सन, यू आर नॉट द ओल्ड गाय एनीमोर, कि वो जो पहले था दैट इज कंप्लीटली that guy is completely gone. Okay, fair enough. I don't feel that. मैं तो अपनी ही वो उसमें ही flow में I'm just
You won't feel it because the theme, the let's just call it the equation, all right? Because like how we have E is equal to mc square. So the underlying equation of this process is the dissolution of the illusion of separation. Why you don't feel that you've changed and outsiders feel is because within you, the amount of separate yous which are there, that is starting to dissolve now.
Yeah.
All right. Because in order to trust yourself, you can't have a boundary with yourself.
Yeah.
All right. So it starts dissolving in different ways. And that is how love originates, because love is the absence of separation.
Yes.
Okay. So you first, where you are, you start getting tastes of it. And this is a long ass process. Because now what happens now, when I said something to you where I said earlier in this call that the change which is happening to all of us is at such a subtle level. It's at a very particulate level. All right. So when I'm talking about particulate, just try now to imagine your human body, and like how you zoom in and then zoom into something and then zoom in more to something. So if you will completely zoom in, not just to you, anything which is matter, this table, this laptop, the whole thing with matter, which now science is starting to discover, which our own ancient sages always knew, is in truth, it does not exist. Now, what I mean to say by that is, it's very simple. We don't need to get into anything superstitious or religious or this or that. If you will simply see what they have showed us about the structure of an atom.
All right. 99% nothing.
Exactly. It's space.
Yes, it is just empty space.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
It is empty space where, for example, if you take an entire football field, an entire stadium, and that is the outer perimeter of the atom, that is the orbit on which the electrons are rotating around the neutron in the center. The center neutron is like a size of a football in the middle of that football field, and the electrons are also the size of just a football, and they are at the end of the football field rotating around it.
Yep.
That is our smallest particulate matter, which we have been able to decently study. They know now this is also not real, and they've gone beyond this into quarks and quantum and waves and particles and all that. And sooner or later they'll come either face to face with God, or God will say, wait for a while, I'll make you get stuck somewhere else.
Yeah.
All right. But basically, the changes are happening there. Now the thing is that when these changes happen, our constituency changes, which means, now there are many different ways to talk about this. One is simply the kind of electromagnetic field we carry with ourselves. But the simple thing which your own friends have told you, that you seem like a different person because the radiation which you give out as a human being changes.
Yeah.
The vibe which you give out, the vibe which you give out, as well as the vibe with which you are carrying yourself, it all changes. And this change is important because the direction in which this change is heading, even if, let's say, you and I had never seen each other, but if we would come across in life, the way we two would connect now would be so natural compared to the actual process of trying to make a friend.
Fair.
All right. And that was important. Why? Because if you go a few years back into my work, I've always spoken about, not always, but after my changes and that new avatar, whatever came out of mine, and I spoke about society and the power structure being like, the pyramid basically, where always the changes have come from the top down. But this time what is going to happen is that the change will come from the bottom up, because this change is happening first at the level of the individual. Because the individual has forgotten, both at the level of a collective as well as at the level of an individual, why they were given free will in the first place, despite destiny still being there, but why the free will aspect was there, why self-sovereignty is important, and why basic freedom is important. Because all of this is today completely enslaved and under attack. And you can just take, you don't even need to think about this. I'm actually myself tired of explaining to people, because all you need to do is switch on the news, whether in India, wherever the you are, and they'll tell you that, okay, now this is happening, now government is going to do this for employment, and now this is going to happen for the interest rates, and now this is going to happen for the inflation. Look around you, how easy it is for people of our age to buy a house. How easy it is for people of our age to live in a way where even with very good salaries, we still feel broke or we feel under pressure. All right. So where the are we actually evolving as a species or a civilization? We are not. We are actually going completely the opposite direction. Because especially in the past 4 years, the level of surveillance and robbing of privacy which has happened, to the point where now private property will also be robbed, where everything will become digital, right? So whether your electric vehicle, whether your electric money, the thing is, we will lose the control over it. We will not be able to use it when we want to use it. Already this exists in there is a social credit rating system, and all of that is now happening here in ways where already so much has happened which people don't know. The thing is, facial recognition, voice recognition is now not even needing hardware. It is possible, and it is actually done on even the road speed cameras. All right, even on the cameras which are supposed to just capture the speed and a license plate of a vehicle. That's the authority they are supposed to have. But just because of a software upgrade, all these hardware pieces of technology, even if they're kind of rudimentary or old, now will have capabilities because of which continuously you are being gridlocked in every way. All right. Now, I'm not able to find even one positive use case for this gridlocking feature for a human being. I don't care what they tell us. Like, all I want to use is my own independent critical thinking, and I want to know what is the need. What is the need? Like, where does this stop? Or what are the conditions under which this will become operational and this will not become operational?
I'm sorry to interrupt, bro, but this is so weird, because I was talking to my friend about the same thing a day or two ago. I was telling him कि मैं उसे ये बोल रहा था कि थोड़े दिन में या थोड़े टाइम में एक ना ब्लैक मिरर का दे हैव एन एपिसोड वेयर एवरीबॉडी इज लॉक्ड इन एंड दे वर्क एक वाइट से सेल में, एंड फिर वो उनका पेज देयर टाइम, वो उनके यहाँ पे टाइम लिखाया था। मैं कही इस लेवल पे कंट्रोल चले जाएगा, मैं कहा दिस एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग इन अ वेरी रॉन्ग डायरेक्शन, एंड वो हंसने लग गया वो।
Yeah, I mean, actually what needs to happen, right, is that what I was thinking today was that while we need to remain open to these conversations, while we should be open to even nudging regular people who are not aware of these things out of compassion and care, but the thing is, this won't apply in your case because you're not doing it at a mass scale. This applies in my case where I'm doing it at a mass scale, where I feel first there was a conflict of belief in yourself that I'm talking about all this shit, such as even back in 2020, but am I delusional? That was still an element. That self-doubt was still there at some level, that what I'm seeing, am I wrong, or is it my way of thinking, etc.? Is it not the truth? And because of that, there was still some, a doubt around it, or a lack of surety. Now that moment has long gone, and there is complete conviction, because now the external world has started showing the proof. Now I'm at a stage where I have lost a lot, right? Trying to talk about this, trying to tell people about this. I could have just been a money-minded person, or that, okay, this is not my job, let me be a dating guy or let me be this, and I could have just continued there and I could have sorted out my life in a lot of ways by now. But I put everything of my own on the line for the sake of getting this out, because it felt wrong for this to not get out. Okay. Now, the stage at which we are right now, for me personally, I start to think if it is even worth it to put so much hard work into actually putting all of this out, simply because, I mean, there are many ways to again talk about this, but I personally think that we are not far from the cusp of consciousness where this becomes the new norm or the new trend, and everyone starts becoming aware of it, because now already I'm seeing a major percentage of society, as I spoke about. If you scout through Instagram comments on news events or certain things, you can understand how many people have started to wake up. You will see glimpses of people with comments where they are not on either side, but they are above both sides. But the thing is that I think we are coming closer and closer, because that's another thing which I've written, coming closer and closer to the bursting of the everything bubble. Earlier, like when we spoke about bubbles, there were bubbles in industries, right? So there was a .com bubble in the late 90s. Besides that, there was a real estate bubble in the 2008 crisis. But the thing is that now there is an everything bubble, because there is a complete lack of faith and trust in everything, from whether it's politics to money to governance, infrastructure, communications, media, etc. So now there is an everything bubble, and we are getting closer and closer to the bursting of everything bubble. Today itself or yesterday itself, a new research has been published that the most educated people in India have the highest levels of unemployment. So when the whole world is running paradoxically, and now, as I said, we are able to start seeing, more people who are not on either side but above both the sides, as I said, from scouting the Instagram comments, etc. That I think we are coming close to that critical number where, if those many X amount of people in a population of 100 people come to know, that then from X to the rest of the 100 knowing is a hyper accelerated fashion. All right. So very similar to the network effect. So for example, when you or me were in school and some people got Facebook, how much time it took for them to get Facebook, we don't know. And I'm sure it was a lot. All right. Because it traveled across oceans to get to us. Right. But then once some people here got it, then all of us, the speed at which we adopted it was super fast. So I personally feel that cusp of consciousness in humanity overall is approaching very soon, where this will become wildfire. But the thing is, what impact that will have, we don't know. If people will freak out, or if people will riot on the streets, or if, again, everybody just resigns and accepts it, or what, we don't know. We don't know, because unfortunately by now the enslavement has sucked out so much of spirit and the human survival instinct of fighting force, that we don't know how many people will actually not take this lying down, we don't know.